And we're live, and with me I have Mountain Confessor.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
Yeah. It was just going to just read some really dumb, stupid articles that I just have lying around. Let me just screen share right quick. Um, can you see what I have up, or is it not showing yet?
Oh no, it looks fine. It's the yep, I got everything right here in front of me.
Uh, when social justice education is mandatory, but math is not. And I just thought, like, that is crazy. Like, now social justice is mandatory to graduate from college.
Yeah, I read this the other day too, and I was kind of surprised because, well, no, maybe I shouldn't say surprised. I mean, with the way academia and the way the education system is going, especially here in the United States, this was just it was just a matter of time.
Yeah, like college kids are not going to do well in the real world because of this. But anyway, at the University of Massachusetts at Amherst, studying social justice is a prerequisite for graduation. Students are required to take two diversity courses according to the college bids. One of the purposes of the courses is to encourage students to create change towards social justice, according to UMass Amherst website. And the thing is, I think students are going there to be doctors, lawyers, engineers, not activists.
Right. I mean, you would hope that's what they're going for. Um, but now it just seems to be the primary goal of higher education is to crank out as many social justice warriors as possible as fast as they possibly can.
Yeah. The College Fist is also reporting that Wayne State University, a public university in Detroit, has abolished its college wide math requirements. It's like you're abolishing the math requirement. That's just crazy. At the same time, faculty at the university are proposing a mandatory 3 credits diversity course. Those kids are going to come out totally messed up. Like, this is why college kids are acting so crazy.
Well, yeah. But I'm kind of wondering with this Wayne State University if they're producing students or they're graduating students and giving them, I guess, associates or bachelor's or master's degrees or whatever. I'm not sure what they're giving to them. Are these diplomas or these degrees going to be accepted anywhere else in the country? I mean, most people look at these things and go, I mean, you have to know some math, at least have, at least algebra, 2 or, college algebra. You got to have that. Um, it's just kind of mind boggling for me. And I'm sure it is for you as well. It's just kind of just mind blowing just to read that and to think that they're replacing mathematics with a diversity training course. I mean, there's other courses that could be, I guess, substituted with a diversity course. But I mean, we know who's teaching these diversity courses, and we know what their goal is. And I'm not a big fan of mandatory anything. I mean, if a student wants to take the diversity course, yeah, and hey, go ahead and do it. It's your money. You go ahead and waste it any way you damn see fit. But I don't like to see mandatory anything, especially when it comes to university courses where it's not considered a core principle. I mean, people need to know how to read and write, and they should know how to do math, and those are core principles that should be they should be uh, without question when it comes down to a college education. But diversity, eh.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with you, and I totally hear where you're coming from because I think that math is far more important than diversity. Because if you don't know math but you know how to be an activist, then you're no good to anybody.
Well, it always comes back to those STEM fields. And I know that people would, they love to go into STEM fields. And I mean, there's a lot of money to be made in the sciences, and technology, and math. But it's to a point now where we're not we're not engaging the students like that any longer. We're more pushing towards social justice and social networking and things of that nature. We're coming to a time where we're going to be running out of scientists because these colleges and universities are just promoting this diversity garbage and social justice
Aren't,
stuff.
aren't we already running out of scientists, though?
Well, it's just going to get worse.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, because I do like have other articles about how poorly America is doing um in comparison to other countries. Like when it comes to math and science, like China is way up there, Finland, it's like Singapore, but it's kind of like when you get to America, we're far behind when it comes to science.
Well, it's because even in junior highs and high schools, they're not really focusing as heavy on this any longer. It's now putting out some sort of politically correct narrative in the classrooms. And a lot of times their kids are losing class time to this fluff stuff that administration and teachers and districts are putting out now. They're not focusing on what needs to be known. They're putting all this fluff in, and it's making, turning these kids' minds into mush. And here they are. They got mommy and daddy's money or government money to spend on universities. And hey, I don't care. I'm just going to do what I want. Just try to squeak by and get a degree, and I'll figure it out after that.
Yeah. If students would rather study diversity than math, that would be up to them. And I agree with that statement. And for some students who want to become social justice activists, the former sorts of classes is probably more important. But it really does seem strange to make the study of math less of a priority than the study of narrow left wing activism. Is the purpose of college to equip students with useful skills or to brainwash them? And lately, it seems like the purpose of college nowadays just seems to be to brainwash students.
Yep, that is true. And it's not going to get any better unless something drastically changes. But I mean, how quick does change come? When we're talking about universities and things of that nature, it takes a while.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Well, anyway, let me just get my other articles up. Sorry, I usually like to erase articles so that I don't have to be stuck talking about them again after already hitting it. Oh, here's one. Uh, Lena
I'll
Dunham.
lean it down on. Oh gosh. Oh Lord.
Okay, here we go. Can you see what I have up here?
Oh, yeah, it just popped up. Let's see. Lena Dunham supports that sushi is cultural appropriation. Oh, God. Oh, Lord. That's beautiful.
The girl's creator said that she agreed with students at her own college protest against the use of Japanese and Vietnamese cuisine in their dining halls. Oh, let's see. Oh, it's not that long. Let's see. I didn't read this ahead of time. It just seems like really stupid enough to talk about. Lena Dunham has spoken out in support of her old college, where students are protesting the use of culturally appropriated food like sushi in its dining halls. Well, really, like, if you've ever spoken to a Japanese person, they are really happy and excited when people are interested in their culture.
Right. And I lived in Germany for a while, and I absolutely had a great time when it came to being exposed to the culture. And I absolutely loved it. Had a great time. I ate a lot of good food, met a lot of really nice people. And I'm not really sure where this cultural appropriation idea came. I mean, where it came from or who started this, because I don't know. I mean, I would think that the more, I mean, we're always talking about diversity in universities and colleges. Wouldn't it be good that students are introduced to, foreign cultures? I would think this would be a good thing. You get to eat, sushi in the dining hall. Hey, why not? I love the idea. Uh, Once again, I think this is just, I think it's silliness.
Yeah, I totally agree with you because it's kind of like I'd spoken to my Japanese friend about social justice, and he totally thinks it's stupid. And he lives like in Japan. He's only spent like a few months in America before heading back to Japan. And he wants people to wear kimonos. He wants people to be, eating sushi. He wants people to be more interested in his home country. He wants people to learn Japanese. He wants his country to be more important instead of, for people to not know much about his country. Because if you talk to people um, where their country is behind God's back, where people don't know much about it and people never heard of it, they want their culture to be known, and to for people in different countries to participate in their culture. Because when you think about it, there is some McDonald's restaurants all over the planet, and there's Wendy's and Taco Bell, and they want their culture to experience that instead of the American culture dominating the planet.
Yeah, no. I definitely agree with that. But yeah, I'm sitting here looking through the article, and I'm like, wow, it just gets weirder and weirder as it gets further down, I guess. Did you want to continue reading?
Yeah, I haven't read this before. I just only read the title. So this would be my very first time reading this article. The girl's creator graduated from Oberlin College, a small liberal arts school, in 2008. In recent interview, Dunham called out the incessant use of Japanese food in her alma mater's canteens. There are now big conversations at Oberlin, where I went to college, about culture appropriation and whether the dining hall sushi and banh mi disrespects certain cuisines. Disrespect cuisines? How could you disrespect food? The press reported it. as how crazy are Oberlin kids, but to me it was actually right on. I said, you're right, this really is crazy.
Well, one of the things that stood out immediately after I was reading a little further was it said there are now big conversations at Oberlin. It's like, really? This is the big conversation at a university? I mean, shouldn't there be? I mean, isn't there more important things to talk about than culturally appropriated food?
Yeah, I know, right? Students at the Ohio based university began protesting in November about a cuisine served to them, which was sarcastically mocked by the New York Post at a time as gastronomically correct.
Mm.
College residents, some international students pointed to the inauthentic use of food where sushi rice was undercooked and facets of Vietnamese and Japanese foodstuffs were made in a disrespectful manner. Okay, hold up. Let me just say, pretty much all Americans know that sushi is not authentic. People pretty much know it's not the exact same as authentic Japanese food. We already know that there's going to be like a leap of difference, you know. It's kind of like if people were interested, they could always go to the internet like those language exchange websites and talk to an actual Japanese person. I mean, we don't live in the 1990s anymore. We don't live in the 1980s anymore. Nowadays, there are people in Japan who are like in language exchange, you know, websites that are willing to tell you all about their culture and Japanese people who even like take pictures of what food they're eating. You know, it's kind of like I could just I could just go through a Japanese person's blog and share pictures of all the food that they're eating. We know it's not authentic. How stupid do you have to be to go like, oh, this is an authentic Japanese food? Everybody knows that. It's an open secret, okay?
Well, we're also looking at this is a university that has a mess hall or chow hall or whatever you want to call it, a place to eat, and it's not a Japanese sushi restaurant. So you're going to end up getting what you pay for. Uh, and undercooked rice was one of the complaints. I'm like, well, you know, that's probably going to happen if you have um, cooks and or whoever's doing the cooking there. If they're not very well versed in creating sushi, yeah, they're going to undercook the rice. They may overcook it. They may, who knows what will happen with it. Now and then we're saying the facets of Vietnamese and Japanese food stuff were made in a disrespectful manner. Okay, I would actually have to talk with someone from both of those countries, Vietnam and Japan, to understand what disrespectful manner is. I mean, I couldn't even imagine what that would be. Is it like handled poorly, or I mean, I guess if you dropped it on the floor and then served it to somebody, that would be pretty disrespectful. But um, I mean, really, I'm not really too sure where to go with that one.
Yeah, it's crazy. Clover Lynn Tran wrote in the Oberlin Review that Bon Appetit, the food service vendor, has a history of blurring the line between cultural diversity and culture. What's the
Oh
difference?
my god. Uh huh. Yeah. Go ahead.
I really don't know the difference between cultural diversity and cultural appropriation. Like, what's the difference? I need somebody to explain this to me.
These are students who really should probably be focusing more on their academic work than worrying about where their food comes from. Um, I mean, no one's been poisoned. No one's had to go to the hospital, have their stomach pumped. If you don't like it because it's been disrespectfully created, hell, I'm sure there's other things on the menu that you could eat. I mean, what are they asking for? I mean, are they eventually just wanting to just go chicken nuggets and ketchup for everybody? I mean, it seems like that's what they're aiming for. It's like, well, you can't have this because it's cultural appropriation. Well, then what are you going to be able to eat? I mean, they really should just be hitting the books, trying to graduate and get out of there instead of turning this into their home kitchen.
Well, nowadays, social justice is a mandatory. I don't know if it's, I don't think it's mandatory here, but nowadays they're making social justice mandatory. So they probably really were hitting the bus, unfortunately. And that was probably pushed into them. When really, I mean, when it comes to America, people should know that America is an amalgamation of other cultures because all Americans has come from other places. Americans come from Germany, France, England. So of course our food is going to be very diverse. You know, it's kind of like we were introduced to pizza and tacos from the people who came here and want to make a living here by sharing their culture here.
Right. And also when those people came here and they introduced those new foods to us, Americans and also people from that same culture made changes to those foods, and so there is some differences in the way food is prepared and done now that may not have been how they did it originally. You can't call it, they'll say that it was culturally appropriated. Well, yeah, there might be something that Mexicans put in their burritos that I particularly wouldn't like. But when it came here to the United States, changes were made. Companies took the original idea and made changes to it. And this is a great idea. I think it's wonderful that the original food is still there in spirit and we still remember the country that it comes from. It wasn't just completely stolen or something, and we didn't wipe out everybody to take their special food away. But once again, this is just, I mean, you were saying, the social justice stuff is being taught in the schools, and this is just where it's led us to, where we have to worry about what we're eating for lunch.
Yeah, and it's kind of like then when if we were to say that eating, oh sorry about that.
It's okay, no problem.
If we were to say that eating food from if we were to say eating food from different cultures is cultural appropriation, then wouldn't their culture be basically erased? And it's kind of like because another form of their arguments, one of the things that they love to argue is that we live in a white supremacist society where everything is white, and but it seems like they want to erase other cultures. Basically it's like you want to erase other cultures because it's cultural appropriation, but then you want to complain that we live in a white supremacist society, when really if you want other if you want things to be less Caucasian, which whatever that means, I guess they mean from Europe, European style, then they would have to bring the Mexican food, the Chinese food here. And if you want to erase all of it, because if you want to erase Chinese food and Mexican food, then you can't really say it's a white supremacist society because that's exactly what they're advocating for. It's kind of like the people from MTV Decoded, and Till Deer touched on this before, how like they like to complain about cultural appropriation and stealing their culture and the problem with asking them where they're from. Like, it's like, I'm an American, but at the exact same time, they are upset, like with the Hobbits, where this guy's basically from Europe, and he embraced his European ancestry to make the Hobbit, the book series, and the Lord of the Rings book
Mm-hmm.
series. Not so it's kind of like when white people embrace their culture and benefit from it and make millions from movies, they are complaining about that too, because it's kind of like, what about the Chinese and the Japanese? What about us? Well, it's not your culture. Embrace your culture and make a buck from it.
Right. No, I agree with you on that. It does seem that if, and especially when it comes to cultural appropriation, if you're a white person and you're using someone else's culture, you're the big bad evil, and you need to stop it. And I think it always just comes back down to, um, and I hate to say this, I think it's kind of an anti-white thing that is being taught, and you see it, and I'm sure you've seen some of the articles about the white guilt articles, and I think the one that was really disturbing was all these people were on their knees and they were chained together, just white people, and they were saying how guilty they felt for the past wrongs of past generations. And I looked at that picture and I'm thinking, Lord, what's going on in the minds of these people? I mean, we're we're supposed to be free people, and they're literally chained to this notion of white guilt.
I never seen what you're talking about before, but it sounds like brainwashing 101.
Oh, I'll try to find that picture for you if I can find it. If there's a way I can share it, I definitely will. If I can't, then I'll try to send it to you.
Well, the way you share things is you go to like the sidebar, it should be to your far left. Then under that blue thing, you should see a green thing. That green thing is screen share. You click on it and you should be able to share. You
Oh, I
share.
see it. I see it. Okay, thanks. Let me see if I can find this picture. I will definitely. I'll let you take a look at it. Oh,
Yeah,
this is.
another problem is that it's kind of not like, it's kind of like if white people use other people's culture, it's culture appropriation. But white people get blamed when they use their own culture, like when it comes to the Hobbit films, the Lord of the Rings films, or Harry Potter. Like
Mhm.
Harry Potter, they're focusing on their own culture. It's like, what about black people? What about like Asians? Like, where are we at? It's like, it's not your culture. It's like, it's not your culture. It's kind of like, it's like, did they really think that black people were there in ancient Germany? It's kind of like, it's stupid.
Okay, let's see if it pops up on your screen.
Oh, I see it.
What do you think about that?
It's crazy. I think I've seen it before, though, but it is crazy. Um,
Yeah, well, the first time I saw that, I'm like going, Wait, what?" There's other ones too that are probably not as cringy as that, but they're pretty bad.
oh, do you want to share that too? I mean, I'll let you look for
Yeah,
it.
let me find it real quick. Like I said, the
Oh,
first.
that one is really bad. The people on their knees with that
Oh,
choke.
yeah, I found it. Yeah, here we go. Let's see if I can view the image, and let me share that one with you too. And there we go.
I mean, it's crazy. It's just so bizarre. You just switch white people with black people, if you made all of those people black, then it's like everybody would know like what the problem with that is.
Right. And I mean, no, and none of these people in this picture have ever, they've never owned slaves. They don't condone slavery. I mean, I mean, I think it's, the institution of slavery in the past and even in the present in with Arab nations and sex slavery. I mean, these are horrible, horrible. It's a horrible institution. It's a horrible atrocity against humanity. But here we are. These people in this picture, they've never owned slaves. They would never. They, I'm pretty sure they would never ever think about getting into that line of debauchery and evil. And sure, some of these people, their ancestors may have owned slaves. I don't know them. I can't, I can't speak for them, but they have no control over the past. And here they are being made to feel guilty for something that happened over, 160 years ago.
Well,
it's just stupid.
Well, if they are Irish, if any of them are Irish, you are probably slaves themselves. It's kind of like it's amazing how the Irish slave trade has been, erased from society.
Well, it definitely doesn't fit the narrative because white slaves, that would then sort of take away something from what the left wants to, how it uses its brainwashing. If you make white people out to have suffered had suffered also, then it kind of levels the playing field. They're like, okay, they were slaves too. Wow, that's terrible. And then we have common ground, and that's one thing I think, especially nowadays, the people in power do not want us to have common ground between white folks and black people and everybody. They don't want us to have common ground. They want to keep us separated in our nice little groups and control us that way. Where, see, like you and I, we're sitting here talking back and forth, having rational conversations, enjoying each other's company. There's some people out there who really do not like this. That's why we got to keep it up.
Oh, you got that right. This reminds me. There's so much I like to say. So I should start off with this first. I've actually won an argument on Twitter by bringing up the Irish slave trade. What happened was it was heterosexual Pride Day, and I was like talking about like heterosexual Pride Day, what? And then there's this person who's kind of a lot like, well, gay people suffered, and not only that, but this is what they said. This is what they said. Even if there was an even playing field, even if all oppression of gays were gone and gays were completely, equal to straights, then gay pride would still be necessary based off historic oppression of gays. So it's like if everything's even, they would have to go by the historic oppression gays. So then I said, well, what about the Irish slave trade where white people were slaves? And then they're like, the girl was like, don't ever talk to me ever again. And that's how I won that argument. Then you went on to say that the government doesn't want us to get along. And that reminds me of what I was watching on PBS. Now, I do take it with a grain of salt because it does seem to be far left wing. Basically, PBS was trying to come to the defense of the Black Panthers. Now, regardless of whether they're lying or not, I mean, I do think that even when people are lying, there are some levels of truth hidden in the lies. And they're talking about how the government doesn't want people to get along. They're talking about how the Black Panther Party were trying to get along with the poor whites, and they were trying to get along with the Latinos, and they showed really old clips and whatnot. It seems legit, but who knows? It probably, I take it with a grain of salt, but I do think that there is some truth to it. I do think that the government really wouldn't want people to get along. The government seems to be very divisive. It's kind of like how you know like how things have been more divisive now than it has in the past. Angry rhetoric, where you have the people in the left and their speech, and the people in the right and their speech. We would probably actually have great solutions if the left and the rights were to set aside their differences and get along. But I do think that when things are divided, it makes people easier to control, because that's how cults work. Like when you look at cults, one of the symptoms of a cult is an us versus them mentality, where if you would choose your cult over your own family and your own friends, it's basically the basis of brainwashing people. You want other people to have enemies so that they're more attached to you and your rhetoric. So I do think that the government does want to keep people divided up so that people are easier to control.
Right. Exactly. Um, and to sort of add to that, when you were mentioning the right and the left, and trying to find some sort of, or try to find common ground, or blur the lines between them. And I think instead of blurring the lines between them and trying to get along with them, is just completely do away with the right and the left. Just totally get rid of that altogether. And just, if we can just look at ourselves as just other human beings, where we each have worth, we each have something to bring to the table. We're free and we're equal. We do not need this right left. We should just be able to get together and sit down, and I know it's really hard for a lot of people to put away the past, and that's what's keeping us. That's, I think, what's keeping us apart is a lot of the things that have happened in the past, and there are people out there who do not want us to forget these. And I don't, I mean, don't forget the past. I mean, if as the saying goes, if you forget the past, you're going to end up repeating it or something. I don't want people to forget it, but we also need to learn from it and say, you know what? I can forgive what happened in the past. I don't have any control over it. You had no control over it. I hold no animosity towards you. We are now friends, and friends work together. And that's what that's kind of my whole deal. That's what I really want to see. Like Dr. Martin Luther King, he said he would like to see the children of slave masters and the children of former slaves be able to sit down with each other and talk and have a meal and do all that sort of stuff. I am so totally for that. I totally like that idea. But there's, like I said, there's people out there who they don't want us to do that.
Yeah, I totally and completely agree with you. Let's see if I could get back to the article. Can you see this? Or
Yep, I got it. Is it the cultural appropriation one?
yeah, by modifying the recipes without respect for certain Asian countries' cuisines, the uninformed representation of culture dishes has been noted by a multitude of students, many of who, that should be of whom, that needs to be many of who have expressed concern over the gross manipulation of traditional recipes. And this person obviously flunked English because it's of whom, not of who.
Oh my gosh. But and this was something we were talking about earlier was I don't understand gross manipulation of traditional recipes. There's been so many changes to traditional recipes that the original recipe, if we even were able to find the original recipe, of course things change over hundreds and hundreds of years, especially if you have a traditional food dish. um, I mean, there's introductions of new types of food items to these dishes, and I guess it's just their opinion that they are grossly misrepresented. Uh, you know, and I know how this definitely sounds to some folks. You never, uh, if there's something that your mother makes or something your grandmother makes in the kitchen, and you can just never find it anywhere else that will taste exactly the way mom or grandma made it. And that's kind of the way I look at it. It's that I do not go to other countries and expect them to make a hot dog the same way I expect to get it here. I'm not going to do that. I mean, that wouldn't make sense. Like I said, I spent some time in Germany, had a great time, and most of the food items that I found there, I couldn't find here in the States. And I was happy for that. It was nice. It was a nice change. But if I did run into foods there, I didn't expect it to taste like the stuff that came out of my mom's kitchen. There's just no way that's going to happen.
Yeah, I totally agree with you because here's what I'm thinking, and I think you've touched on this earlier. I think that like it's it's kind of like the Mexicans and the Italians who introduced their food to us, they probably made it the way their mama made it. And that's the way we eat it in America. We probably eats, their family recipe of that because um even though even though I don't agree with post traumatic slave syndrome at all whatsoever, there is one thing that Joy DeGrice said that I do agree with, and that is, like a bunch of people make curry, and they make curry the way their mama made it. And each person's like, no, 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 you're making it wrong. No, 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 you're making it wrong. No, 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 you're making it wrong. And really, it's kind of a lot like if your mother teaches you this is how you make curry, and somebody else's mom's like, no, 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 this is how you make curry, then of course it's all going to be different. So it's kind of like if somebody from Mexico was kind of, this is how I make a taco, and I'm going to call it my Big Daddy taco. Oh, yeah. And it's kind of like if they serve that in the United States, and it's not the same as in Mexico, they probably made the taco that they feel it should be made. And we in America probably adopted that version of the taco. And that version probably doesn't match a homemade version because when people cook, they tend to make their own alterations to what they're going to cook and whatnot.
Exactly. And like you said, we are a nation of immigrants. There's a bunch of different cultures here, and I have a very limited Spanish ancestry in my family. But when I make burritos or tacos and stuff like that, yeah, I take it and I doctor it up the way I liked it, and it's not wrong. And these people are trying to make people feel that what we're doing is wrong, and I'm like, no, I like what I like, and I think that's the way everybody should look at it. It says, well, you make it this way, I make it my way. It's all good. Can't we just be friends?
Yeah, it's that way everybody does, like make food their own way, especially like sometimes you have to when you think about it because some people have allergies. Like you could be allergic to chocolates, you could be allergic to eggs, you could be allergic to milk. So, like in some situations, you have to make food your own way to accommodate for your allergies and whatnot.
Right. You'd have to do that. And also, you may have to make changes if you don't have a certain ingredient or um, a suitable replacement for an ingredient. You may have to just wing it.
And not only that, but people forgets that when people different cultures have been coming to America back in the I don't know the 1700s, and things were a lot more. It was probably more complicated getting certain ingredients to America than it is now. Now it's pretty much easy to ship things to America because we have airplanes now. But it's kind of like it probably wasn't always easy to transfer things to America, you know.
Right. Well, I can definitely tell you that that is true because when it comes to our early colonial settlers, especially in the 1600s, and a lot of people don't know this, and you can look it up, is honeybees. European honeybees were not native to North America, and so they had to actually bring beehives from Europe so that the colonists could have honey here.
That must have been a lot of these things.
Well, the neat thing about European honeybees, and a lot of people, you can look this up, is that they're very docile and they travel pretty well. Um, but I know it's kind of weird. I have I don't own bees, but I've done a lot of study in beekeeping because eventually, when I finally get settled to where we're going to be going next year, I'm going to be putting in at least 3 or 4 hives. I can't wait.
Mhm. Yeah, that sounds awesome. Okay, I have another article with me, and this is also another crazy one.
All right.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I got it. Oh boy. Okay.
This one is from dailymail dot co dot uk, and I'm just reading that out loud just in case people want to find these articles, because I usually don't go back and the link. Anyway, wolf whistling to become a hate crime. Police force starts recording uninvited verbal um, engagements from men to women in the same category as racist abuse. And this makes me feel so sorry for people who live in England. Like this reminds me, and I've had this conversation on Twitter before. I asked the girl, "Where you from?" She said, "I'm from England," and my reaction was like, "Oh my goodness, I am so sorry for you." Anyway, Nottinghamshire police will record misogyny incidents as hate crimes. I I don't think that sentence is grammatically correct, but well, um, it will include street harassment, verbal abuse, and physical approaches. Using mobiles to send unwanted messages will also, ooh, will also be within definition. Police have spent 3 months training officers and staff on hate crime. So basically, things on England for men is terrible. And let me just say this. I've had men from England in my hangouts before, and one of the things that I've learned that was surprising was that some companies in England have paid period leave.
Wait, but okay, wait. So females there in some, I guess some companies can what take like 3 or 4 days off, or I don't for 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 a period.
1 week paid, paid.
Uh-huh.
You're getting paid 1 week paid period leave for women only, basically, because only
Period
women can
leave.
get periods. Is but there's nothing for men. Men would still have to work,
Well,
but
yeah.
if you're a woman, you can get paid period leave in some companies, not all companies,
Okay.
not ubiquitous, but paid period leave for 1 week. One
Huh.
week. So like 1 week once a month, you could just basically get paid period leave. And when I learned of this, I was shocked. I was dumbfounded because I mean, my mother scolded me to go to school during when I that time of the month, and eventually I did my science work and learned that to um make your period less painful, you just take magnesium, and you could take magnesium in powder form, but basically magnesium would ease period pain, but if it's really severe, then I think that doctors would prescribe birth control pills.
Okay. I really have no. I'm not very well versed in women's monthly cycles, so I'm not even going to even hazard to guess any of that. Um, Thank you for your information. Oh my gosh. Yeah. No. 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 But that is kind of weird. But one of the things in your article, it was saying that this only seems to be about men, like catcalling and wolf whistling and stuff like that. Women. I mean, now I know that sometimes ladies out there will, you know, catcall and wolf whistle men, but I don't see anything about them getting in trouble.
Yeah, you're right. So, I mean, I've spoken to a guy like I think it was cognitive thoughts, and a girl grabbed his butts. So it's kind of like
Wow.
it's like a woman actually grabbed his butts, but it's like it's weird because it's clear special treatments. It's very, very clear special treatments in favor of women. So this is why I have the a problem with the arguments that if um if all the bathrooms were gender neutral, then there would be peace among the sexes. That doesn't make any sense because the laws favor women. Having gender neutral bathrooms isn't going to make things easier for men when the law says if you whistle her or if you, I mean, the laws could be so out vague and
Mm-hmm.
outrageous that a woman could have you, especially in England, a woman could have you in jail for anything. Basically, you could breathe in a woman's direction and get sent to jail. So it doesn't really make sense, like to be like, well, if we had gender neutral bathrooms, it would make everything easier. I would think having gender neutral bathrooms when you could get arrested for everything, I would think that gender neutral bathrooms make things a whole lot worse. I mean, like farts, rape, stare rape. I mean, asking a woman how she's feeling gets rape. And it's kind of a lot like you really want to share a bathroom with fart rape, thing. It's kind of like, wouldn't that make things worse for men instead of making things better for men?
Well, yeah, it would definitely make things really bad for men. But I think what's happening with this is that with these types of laws and these types of rules, what you're doing is or what they're doing is killing the complement, where men cannot actually complement their female coworkers. Um, everything now just has to be about business. You can't say, "Oh, hi, how are you doing?" or try to pass the time, because anything could be construed as some sort of sexually oriented attack just by common conversation, a raised eyebrow, a knowing wink. These are things that could be easily taken out of context and go, oh, he just sexually harassed me, arrest him. And it's like, it's just silly that we're, and especially in Britain, obviously they're just painting men into a corner and said, okay, you just stay right there, we'll run the show here, don't say a word, definitely don't give us compliments because we'll send you to prison for that. It's just really sad. We're not able to communicate with each other, and I know that usually guys who are wolf whistled or catcalled, usually men are expected to be like, oh, okay, well, that's okay. That's good stuff. It's no harm, no foul. It was nice of them to know. I remember in high school and in college, let's see, in college, I got this really beautiful young woman passed me in the hallway and complimented me on my knees. She said, man, you got some really sexy knees. And I'm like, sexy knees? And I was like blown away because I'd never had that happen, and that sort of, I was like, okay, that was pretty cool, I guess. It didn't hurt my feelings. And that was it. I mean, we didn't become an item or a couple or anything like that. But, I guess it just didn't bother me. But I don't know how other people would feel. It's kind of strange.
Okay. I don't know if I read this above section here. Have I?
No, you didn't. I don't think we got there.
Okay. A police force revealed today it has become Britain's first to recognize misogyny as a hate crime. I feel so sorry for all the people who live in England. Nottinghamshire police is recording incidents such as street harassment, verbal abuse, unwanted physical approaches. All of these are totally vague and take photographs without consent within hate crime definition. It also includes using mobile phones to send unwanted messages, unwanted sexual advances, unwanted or unwanted physical or verbal contacts and engagements, possibly including wolf whistling. And the problem with all of this is that it's all incredibly vague. Like, how is a woman supposed to get asked out, and how is a guy supposed to ask a woman out? I mean, it's kind of like you wouldn't want you as a man, you wouldn't know if asking a girl out is unwanted until she says, no, I have a boyfriend already, or no, I'm not interested in dating. So you won't know if it's unwanted until you take the risk first.
Right. Yeah, it's getting to a point where it's scary for men to even, to even approach a lady now, because I mean, in this case, if it's an unwarranted advance, well, how are guys supposed to even get started? I mean, if we can't walk up to you and say, hi, would you like to have coffee or tea with me sometime? In Britain, obviously, this could land you in jail, and just for something that simple.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I read it as well. It's like unwanted verbal contacts. It's
right.
It's kind of like if I were to say like, let if I was a man, let's just say I was a man for a second and you were a woman, and I would say, hey, how you doing? Could we do you want to go out to a movie together sometime? That could if I was a man, that could land me in jail, basically.
Yeah, because and especially like you were saying about the vagueness of all this, it's all it says here is unwanted sexual advances, verbal contact, which means just talking back and forth to each other. It doesn't say that it was constant. you know, if the guy had been asking like 4 or 5 times and he keeps getting shot down, you know, maybe the guy should get a hint. It's like, dude, you know, she's not interested. You know, it's pretty cool. I mean, usually if I was in the situation and I asked a lady out and she said no, that's probably the last time I'm going to ask her. You know, I can sit there and, you know, I can read the body language, and it's like, okay, she's not. It would be different if I approached a lady and asked her, and she said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm busy this weekend, but can we postpone for another time?" I'll be like, okay, there's a chance. Um, but here it looks like one time. All it takes is one time, and you can get in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, are they trying to kill love in relationships?
I don't know. It seems like it.
Yeah, because I mean, it's kind of like men are. If you're a man, men would start being afraid to ask women out all it's together. I mean, nowadays women would probably have to start asking men out.
Well, right. Yeah, and that's and well and maybe that's the power that these new women want. They want that. Maybe they want that power. I don't know. I can't speak for ladies or women out here today. I've been married for 25 years. I didn't really date a lot. Um and so I don't even know what the dating scene even looks like now. I mean, it's been a long time for me. I mean, at the time that I got married, I was, let's see, I think the internet was just kind of a new thing, and it's I know that the internet plays a big part in dating now, but yeah, it does seem that either they want the power or they just really don't want men to even approach them anymore, which is really strange.
Yeah, and this is what I say like that. This is why I hate the arguments that if all the bathrooms were gender neutral, it would solve all of men's problems because women would start seeing men as equals when really it's a minority of women that are in power. Not only that, but the laws, especially in England, they are really bad for men. What they should be fighting for instead would be equality under the law instead of stupid laws. You know,
Right. Yeah, exactly.
if I was a man living in England, I'm not going to care if the bathrooms are gender neutral or not. That would probably scare me as a man in England. Which I'm not, but if I was someone living in England, a gender neutral bathroom would probably scare me. What I would be fighting for instead would be equality under the law, for the laws to be gender neutral, and for whatever applies to women apply to men, and for whatever applies to men to also apply to women, for laws to be perfectly equal. You shouldn't even have like this law applies to men. No, the law must apply to everybody equally or nobody.
Right. No, exactly. I mean, we're always striving for equality, um, among everybody, genders, races, um, nationalities, diverse cultures. Yeah. And I was kind of also thinking about this. It would be really one thing if it was just a matter of women just needing more bathrooms. I would be cool with that. Because usually I notice this when I go on, when I'm traveling and things like that. I'll walk into a public area and there's like public restrooms, and usually there's a line out the door for the ladies' room, but like there's no line out the door for men. I mean, it's either men just don't go as often, or I don't know what was happening. If it was just a matter of women needing more bathroom space, hell, I'd be fine with that. I don't care. But it's not. And I'm not even really too sure what's driving this whole gender neutral bathroom deal. because most of the women out there now, they're just holding it and waiting to go home. They won't even walk into a public bathroom for fear that you never know who's going to be in there.
It reminds me of how Hunter Avalon, who got a lot of hate recently. Yeah, Hunter Avalon got so much hate recently. It's so many people in the anti-feminist community made videos against him. But he was made a video about how Target is not doing so well since they came up with gender neutral bathrooms. How like nobody's shopping there anymore, because I don't think it's strictly that. I think it's also you cannot bring a gun inside Targets. So it's like when it comes to Targets, you got to leave your guns at home. So I think it's an amalgamation of both. I do think if it was gender neutral bathroom, but you can have your gun with you, then I don't think it would probably be that much of a big deal if you could shoot a person, for protection if you need it.
I'm not really too sure. I know that right after that decision, my wife made um, she told me, she says, well, I'm not going to be shopping at Target. And I'm like going, okay, well, that's completely up to you. That's your choice. Um, and and I don't blame anyone for, they're voting with their wallet and telling these companies that, hey, I saw what you did and I don't understand what you're doing, and so being that you've not given me a good enough reason, I'm not going to give you my money anymore. And I was completely behind her on it. I was like, okay, dear, if you don't want to shop at Target anymore because of this situation, that is completely fine with me. You do what you got to do.
Yeah, man, I don't know what happened, but for some reason my folder popped up out of nowhere. I don't know if you noticed that or saw it or not.
Yeah,
But
it was really quick. I was like, oh, look, pretty colors.
I didn't even click on my folder. I hate it when my computer does it when I didn't even click there, but my folder just popped up for no reason. It's kind of like for some reason, it's kind of like I was cleaning. I forgot what I was cleaning, but my this thing right here, it ended up just being turned sideways, and it took me a while to figure out how to get it back to right side up because this screen is like I'll admit this is like a touch screen right here, and for some reason it was just all sideways, and it just took me like it took me a good while to figure out how to get everything back in the right order.
No, it's okay. I mean, it happens, little glitches and stuff in the video. It's all good.
Yeah, it's kind of like I miss the days of the old fashioned computer when I didn't have to worry about all this.
Let's see. What else are we looking at here?
Did we read this part yet, or did we not?
Nope. No, we have not got to that.
The fourth chief, Constable Sue Fish, said, I'm delighted that we're leading the way towards tackling misogyny in all forms. That's the problem right there, because
Boy.
nowadays anything and everything is misogyny. It's like they're reading into things being misogyny. It's like how is that misogyny? Like I'm a woman myself, and even as a woman, it's like, how is that even misogyny? How are you reading that? It reminds me of how that one woman was like saying like hard work is very offensive, and if you say the word hard work, you're offending black people. It's like
Okay. I remember that one. That was really weird. I remember hearing that and was like, wait, did she really go there? I mean, I, it just sounded so bad. But yeah, with everything being misogynist now, uh, and then really people are just making stuff up now just to create problems. And this is just another one of those things that's like, oh, okay, everybody, all men hate women, obviously, which totally doesn't is not true. Um, I mean, I've kind of figured it like this: if men really hated women, why in the world would we be trying to talk to them like all the time?
Yeah, it's kind of like the whole everything's misogyny. It's like they're really making things up now. It's kind of like how Steve Shives had that
Uh,
video where it's kind of like if you ask a woman where she's from, that's harassing her. And it's like, what? Wait, it's harassment to ask a woman where she's from? I mean, seriously? It's like that they really are now making things up as they go along now.
yeah, yeah, that's what it seems like to me. But I've never had a problem with, or I never saw the problem about asking people questions. And that's a very harmless question. It's like, hey, where are you from? I do that with people who are from here in the United States. If I hear a different accent from, from the one I'm used to, or um, even ones I am used to, because being Southerners, sometimes you hear a Southern accent that is completely different than your Southern accent, and you'd be like, "Oh, what part of where are they from? Are they from Mississippi, or Gulf Coast, or are they from Western Tennessee or South Carolina?" It's and I think it's also a good conversation starter. It's like, hey, you're from North Carolina. Well, I'm from Tennessee. We're not too far away from each other, and it's kind of fun. But there are people out there who, like I said, they're just making stuff up to get offended. They're getting all twisted up over these little tiny things, and it means nothing.
Yeah, yeah, because like a few months ago, I asked a black girl where she's from, and she didn't get offended because she knew that I meant where she's from within the United States, and I think she's from up north or something. Anyway, uh, oh, I hope I'm not muted. Am I muted? Let me check.
I
Oh,
can hear you, but
um,
there's your screen again.
it's a very important aspect of the overall hate crime work being conducted, and one that will make Nottingham safer place for all women. When really, I think it's about hating men. I don't think it's really about women as much as it is about man hating.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering where the hate comes from, because when you're saying misogyny, hate crime, and wow, that lady looks kind of severe in the picture. It's like, wow. Okay, but no, hate crime. I'm not really too sure where the hate's at.
I think it's man hating. That's what I'm getting. Is that you
Yeah,
hates men, so they're inventing really crazy laws to punish men, and I don't know what it is. I mean, do these women have a hard time getting laid or something? It's like is it that like guys don't want to sleep with them, therefore they're punishing men?
I'm not really too sure. It's I mean, men are usually, and maybe we should maybe take this back to a more basic instinct for human beings. When men and women are looking for mates, um, to produce offspring and put more children on the planet, different men look for different traits and different things that they see in a suitable mate. Same thing for women. Maybe some of these women are not are either not finding the men that they deem suitable, or the men in their area are just not finding them suitable. Maybe that's the case.
Mm. Yeah, they just want to punish men for some reason. I don't know if it's because of their ideology or it's because they've had a bad experience. What women face often on a daily basis. I'm a woman, and I don't know what you're talking about. As a woman, I've never experienced sexism a single day in my life. It's absolutely unacceptable and can be extremely distressing. Not Nottinghamshire Police is committed to taking misogynistic hate crime seriously. The
Mm,
force has spent 3 months training officers since that one stopped. I think they mean to say misogynistic hate crimes, not misogyny hate crimes, because that just doesn't sound right.
yeah, it sounds weird. Yeah.
And said it covers incidents against women that are motivated by an attitude of a man towards a woman. Police who have been working in Nottingham Women's Centre added that the crime included behavior targeted towards a woman by men simply because they are a woman.
Hmm. That's different.
The NWC Center manager Malini Jeff said, "We're pleased to see Nottingham's police recognize the breadth of violence and intimidation that women experience on a daily basis of our community." Well, I'm a woman and I don't experience sexism on a daily basis. I mean, I don't live over there, but
Right.
from your description on top, it just seems like if a man asking a woman out on a date is harassment.
Right. Yeah, and that's what it seems to me. Now, of course, when you get to a physical component on that, where men are actually touching them, and that's completely not acceptable. And then yes, you should definitely be getting in trouble if you're the type of man who goes out there and are out here manhandling and feeling up women who are not cool with you doing that. Yeah, you deserve to get in trouble. But just asking or just talking to someone nicely should not be considered a hate crime. Once again, I don't know where the hate's coming.
Understanding this as a hate crime will help people to see the seriousness of the incidents and hopefully encourage more women to come forward and report to police. I don't want women to come forward over petty issues. I don't think that women should come forward over issues that really are no big deal. And not like that, but I just thought of something just now. This is I think this comes from Karen Stronghold. What's your last name? Karen Strong.
Is it is it I'm trying to remember her last name. I know who you're talking about though.
Yeah, she made a video um to the Young Turks once, and
uh,
she was talking about let's see these laws that get men put in jail. These laws also negatively impact black men. So it goes back to progressives going against, creating problems for them to solve. It's kind of like, hold on, let me just get a little bit comfortable right quick. I'm in an uncomfortable position. Let me just sit more comfortable. I'm back.
okay.
Karen Strong made a video and she was talking about this was to Chink and what happened? This was to Chink, and basically what she was saying to the guy was kind of like um progressives come up with laws basically like kind of like what we're reading. How we're reading that this could get a man in jail, that could get a man in jail, that could get a man in jail. And this often negative impacts the black community as well. Like it puts a lot of black men in jail. Like the jail cells is full of black men. And then progressives complain about that. It's like progressives create problems for them to solve. It's like they're really creating more problems, but it's like they want to solve the problems that they themselves created. It's kind of like when I was watching this documentary to post traumatic slave syndrome. And in post traumatic slave syndrome, Jordan the guy says that a white woman would clutch her purse and cry rape and get a black man thrown in jail. When that is exactly what progressives are asking for. This is not what Republicans are asking for. This is not what the right is asking for. This is what the left is asking for. That, if a woman calls rape, a man gets thrown in jail. And then it gets used for progressive rhetoric. Like, oh, like a white woman calls rape and a black man gets thrown in jail. This is kind of like it's like progressives are causing more problems, and then they want to solve the problems that they themselves are causing. If that makes sense, I tried to make as much sense as possible, and I don't know if I conveyed it that clearly.
No, no, no. You covered it. It was good. No, and you're right. And that's always the thing about ideologues and especially with government in general. It will create a crisis, and then it will ride in on the white horse and say, "I have a solution to this." Which is so funny because they were the ones who created the problem in the first place. And people go, "Oh, look, government's here to protect us and help us," and they forget, or they were not told that it was actually government's fault in the first place.
Yeah, it makes me think, like I made a video not that long ago, and in my video it was my parody commercial where I was kind of like where I kind of mocked what I normally hear in from the youngsters, and it's kind of like unarmed black man gets shot by police. Unarmed black men like Trayvon Martin, Eric Garner, all these unarmed black men are getting killed by police. So the solution is, and this is what I'm saying as a parody, is to ban all guns, and only police officers should have guns.
Yeah, no, I remember I saw your parody. It was pretty good. Um, right. Yeah, there and and especially getting back to when the left talks about taking away the rights of like the Second Amendment rights or First Amendment rights and things of that nature, they're not just taking it away from one particular group of people. They're going to take it away from everybody. And I love to see when people from all walks of life, different races and everything, when we can all agree on that everyone who participates in our society, who's a part of this society, everyone should have those rights. Everyone should have the right to be able to say what they want. They should be able to defend themselves in the way that they deem most fit for the situation. And that's just not white people. That's black people and Hispanics and everyone. I know I wouldn't want to take away anyone's rights, but again, we have people out there, and a lot of these times you have people on the left and in the government and stuff like that. They do not want people to have the right to be able to talk to each other in the way they see fit, and also they definitely don't want us to have the right to defend ourselves.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Oh, I'm sorry. Base Mama appeared on chats.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, based is nice. Is she coming on?
I don't know if she's still there, but I mean, it would be really cool if she did came on. Hey,
Yeah.
Base Mama, if you're listening, would you like to come on? Maybe we should try to get in touch with her on Twitter.
Yeah, let me
Um,
see if I can find her. Let's see, where is she?
yeah, you try to get in touch with her on Twitter, and I'll continue with the article. But it would be nice if we could have her on. Understanding this as a hate crime would help people see the seriousness of the incidents and hopefully encourage more women to come forward and report offenses. A force spokesman said, unwanted physical or verbal contact or engagement is defined as exactly that, and so can cover wolf whistling and other similar types of contact. If the victim feels that this has happened because they're a woman, then we will record it as a hate crime. When the vast majority of men, like 98% of men, are straight, like 98% of men are full blown heterosexual straight men. And then the next in line would be bisexual, and the next would be gay, you know. And gay people are a very, very small percentage of the population. So it's kind of weird to say, like, it's kind of like because they are a woman, it would be recorded as a hate crime when it's kind of like being sexually attracted to women is a hate crime for some reason. I don't get that.
Yeah, I don't either. Oh, I was able to send Based Mama a message. Oh, she said that she would love to, but she's right now kind of busy.
Oh, it would have been nice if she could have come on. I really like Base Mama. She's a
Yeah,
cool person.
yeah, she's really neat. I really enjoyed chatting with her.
Yeah, I've learned so much the last time she was here.
Yeah,
Um,
that's. Did you ever do a an interview series with her or an interview with her?
I want to, but
Oh,
it's like I would love to view her sometime. I brought it up, but I
yeah,
wasn't.
yeah. I think she would be a really good interview. I would definitely watch that one.
Yeah, I think it would be great to interview her so she could talk more about what it's like being a Muslim, and I mean that would just be awesome. This doesn't necessarily mean that a crime offense has been committed. Sounds that way to me, but means we will carry out risk assessments and offer supports as we would any other victim of hate. Sexual attraction is hate now. Awesome. Hate crime is the terminology used to record all incidents and crimes which the victim perceives to be motivated by prejudice. How is a straight man, being sexually attracted to a woman and asking her out on a date, prejudice? It doesn't make any sense. We take all reports of hate crime extremely seriously. Oh God, this is Orwellian.
Yeah, no doubt. It definitely is Orwellian. But yeah, I mean, it's hard enough for guys anyway to approach women and ask them out. I know me personally. Um, in high school, when I was in the army and stuff like that, it took a lot of courage to to screw my courage to the sticking point and actually go and ask a woman out. It was difficult for me. Now I know that there are some guys out there who can just walk right up and start a conversation. I'm not that guy. I'm was very shy. um I couldn't do it. And so I mean it took a lot. Thank goodness, eventually I was, old enough to drink, and that always helps. No, just kidding. Go ahead.
All right. The spokesman added, domestic abuse is not included within the scope of misogyny, hate crime in this procedure, as it is dealt with comprehensively within its own procedure. In April, Poppy Smart's Sunseeker reported a group of builders to West Marceta police for wolf whistling at her on her way to work at Worcester. Can't pronounce that. The first said it was a matter for the men's employers. And last September, BBC reporter Sarah Till had sexual obscenities shouted at her by passing men while she filmed a news report about sexual harassment in um, Nottingham City Central. And I want to read Chris's comment. It is not illegal to pick up women in Nottinghamshire. English men, if you want wives or girlfriends, you will legitimately have to go overseas now. UK is just for working, not for finding a mate to hang with him. And I have to agree with Chris here from Australia.
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me too. But here's one thing I would like to ask, and if there's a possibility that we could figure out what is the the men who are doing these wolf whistling sort of crimes, are they Englishmen or are they immigrants?
Oh, you have a really good point there. I didn't even think of that because when it comes to, I think it was Rottinghamshire or whatever. I cannot pronounce the name of British cities, but there thousands of British girls got raped. So that's an interesting comment to make.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not really too sure, how English men, how they deal with English women, or women in general. I don't know. Maybe they are the ones who are out here wolf whistling. Maybe it doesn't matter what culture they're from. I can't tell. I'm not there. But I was kind of wondering, it's like, it's once again a nation of immigrants. Europe is, or not Europe, England. And I was just kind of wondering, it didn't say in the article.
Yeah, I mean, and British women, they're not going to get asked out. I mean, join the Single Forever Club. I mean, because there's no way that they're going to have a relationship with that, and it is going to negatively impact people who really do want to find a love and have some love in their life, and perhaps st- at least have children with somebody someday if that's what they would want.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to come to a time where, the of course, birth rates are dropping, and the rate of people getting married is dropping. And I'm just kind of wondering, and I know I'm making light of this and a little fun, but it's like, I mean, how many cats are going to be left in Britain, when all these women, are unmarried and everything, and they're just all hoarding the cats. I guess they won't have to worry about a cat shortage, or a cat, or what is it, loose cats running the streets. They'll all be adopted.
Oh, let's see. Let me look at chats. Skepo would be better. Wait, if you're on vacation to UK, can you still be arrested or whatever? I really don't know.
It sounds like it would be. It wouldn't really matter who it is. It didn't really specify. But if I guess if you're even a visitor visiting Great Britain, if you're out there wolf whistling and telling ladies they got nice legs, there's a really good chance You could be spending the night in jail or standing before a magistrate.
Yeah, and based on what it says, I'm going to guess that if you're a Muslim, it doesn't count, and that's how I view it as well.
What
Uh,
what what did she say?
she says, I'm going to guess if you're Muslim, it doesn't count. The UK
Ah,
laws, this is sexual harassment, that is sexual harassment.
well, it does seem that Muslims are a protected religion in the UK, and of course, this is just from a person who's staring across the pond and looking and saying, "Wow, they're letting these people just get away with everything." I think she's right.
Yeah. Let's see. Um, can you see this?
Yep.
Now I'm reading from express.co.uk. Every woman is a feminist. Well, I'm not. It's kind of like, it's weird because it's like we've got me, we've got She One Head, we've got Blair Weiss, who's a trans woman. We got Darren Meyer, who's also a trans woman. Me, I'm a woman, and it's kind of like the reason why I break up the Dare Trans is because we also got diversity in the anti-feminist community. We've got black, white, male, female, trans, and cisgender. There is a diversity here, and I think that's important because feminists, they say they speak for trans, they speak for trans issues. So it's really interesting that trans are speaking out against them, and they're like, no, you don't.
Yeah, and so Dame Helen Mirren was the one who made that statement that all females are now feminists. Wow. Okay.
Every woman is a feminist. Dame Helen, um, whatever, says these
Mirren.
are
Yeah.
exciting times for females. Well, I'm a woman and I'm not excited. I really hate feminism, and I would like to see it go.
Yeah. I look at feminism as just an extension of, and I hate to be this way, of tyranny. It silences those who speak against it. It looks to criminalize um, just human interaction. This could even go back to what we were just reading about Nottinghamshire, um, about them, making the law that just talking with a female can get you sent in jail. This is all feminism. This is what it's stemming from. I don't exciting times for females. I don't really think so. And I definitely can't say that it's exciting times for females who are in the Middle East.
Yeah,
I'll never be able to say it's an exciting time for me females in Saudi Arabia. Uh, that's and that's where they really need feminism.
when it comes to this being an exciting time for females, I mean, what about all the women like me who would like to get rid of feminism? There's me, there's Shieldhead, there are so many women. There is a group out there called Women Against Feminism. What's about all the women who would like to see feminism gone? Because feminism, it actually does target women sometimes, or like Carlton T. Carlton T made this YouTube video where he talked about how it's kind of like when Muslim men are raping all these German girls, the feminist like prime minister or whatever she was, just says, just walk a few feet ahead of him and it would be okay. It's kind of like the feminists in like Germany are victim blaming the victims of rapes of the like the clone. New Year's, right? It's like if you get raped by a Muslim, who cares? It's kind of like they totally take the Muslim side. So it's kind of like women, we know that feminism isn't really for us. They're for whatever's the most politically correct at the time. And it's politically correctness gone to madness.
Oh yeah, exactly. It is definitely a madness, and you know it. The first wave feminism, that was very important. Or I, the right to vote and everything like that. I do understand this right to be able to own property, the right to be able to do anything a man can do. I'm totally cool with that. I totally agreed with it. It's totally good, but now it's it's just tyranny. It's just telling people that men, you can't do this, and while they're telling men they cannot do certain things, it infantilizes women and keeps them pretty. It's actually very regressive. It's sort of it's they're not able to develop and do the things that they really want to do. And that's why it's great when you see people like yourself, Ren, or Shoe on Head, and you guys are speaking your minds, and and you're doing what you want to do, and that's wonderful. That's that when I think of feminism, like real, real actual, you guys are are really more free than feminists. You it's wonderful to hear you guys. You talk about subjects you want to talk about. You talk about how feminism is hurting women, and this is great. But as you and I know Shoe's got a lot of hate on this. Um, there's a lot of people out there, once again, who they want to silence you all, and we can't let that happen. It's not good.
Yeah, I do have an example of feminist. I have two examples that pop to mind. One is with Lauren Southern. They poured pee all over her. They just had a bottle of pee and just poured it all over her. And it's like, what is she? I think her friends encouraged her to go to the cops with it, but she wanted to be the bigger person. But that's feminism hurting women. Another one is with this celebrity. She has an interesting last name like Koku or
Oh
Cupid.
yeah, yeah. That's was it Kaylee Koku?
Yeah, the one
Yeah,
who said that she's not a feminist and how she would rather be a housewife, and they harassed her nonstop until she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a feminist. Okay, I'm a feminist. So stop the harassment." Okay, they harassed her until she agreed that she's a feminist.
that's right. She had to bend to their threats and uh, their taunting when she was just speaking the truth, and she was making a decision for herself. She just wanted to be a housewife and do stuff around the house. Hey, that's fine. If that's what she really wants to do. These other people, they pretend that they have some sort of hold over people, that they control them, and they control them through threats and the bullying that you see on in online and things like that. But she was just being honest, and if that's what she really wanted to do with her life, hey, it doesn't bother me. But feminists, they have to it's either all or nothing. You're with us or against us. That's the way it looks to me.
Yeah, Dame Helen Mirren, is that how you pronounce it? Is
It's Mirren. Yeah, Mirren. Yep.
Mirren has claimed that any any woman is now a feminist after discussing sexism in Hollywood during a candid new interview.
sexism in Hollywood. I can believe that. Sex Hollywood is kind of a dismal place. I would I'm not a big fan of Hollywood. I know I'm totally off the subject, but the movies that they're producing now, it's like it's all just rehashes from like the 1980s. It's like, what's the point of going to the movies? I've already seen this movie.
Yeah, I'm not a big, huge fan of Hollywood myself. I pretty much don't turn on the TV. I did watch Penny Dreadful.
Well, that's kind of neat. I did pick up a couple of I did watch a couple of episodes of that. Those are pretty good. I like that. Are you a Game of Thrones person?
I didn't like Games of
You didn't
Thrones.
like
I didn't. I didn't. I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing. I just watched the first episode. Well, I watched, like the first 10 minutes, and it's like, this seems lame. So
Yeah. No, no, no. You know, it's not for everybody. You know, I wouldn't force somebody to watch it, but you know, a lot of the shows that we're talking about, a lot of them are made overseas and different. They're not really Hollywood production sort of things, so you get to see a new sort of you get to see new things. And I mean, I know George R. R. Martin. That's the fellow who wrote the Game of Thrones series and everything like that. I mean, these books have been around for a pretty long time, so it was kind of good to see that somebody picked it up and said, "Hey, let's make this a series on HBO or something." I like that. I know I'm totally off the topic. I'll let you get back to it.
now, if you want to know what I do like from overseas, I do like anime. Like I've been watching Kakashi. I've been watching Kakashi, and I'm almost through. Like I just have to. I mean, the last one seems to be episode 51 of the anime, and I am on 46. I haven't watched this one yet. I just clicked on 46, and Kakashi is a good anime. I've watched I don't know, Exorcist. I've read the manga too, and the manga is still ongoing. I've watched the anime and read the manga to Katsuki Hitman Reborn. I've I've seen Code Geass. I've seen Beyond the Battery. I've watched so many anime. It's hard to name them all. I really love anime, and even when I read the manga, it's really good. It's just that it's longer, and you have to be patient and wait until somebody translate the new chapter. But I mean, I really love what they come up with over in Japan.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'm not very familiar with a lot of stuff in uh, Japanese or Far East cinema. Most of the time, I am if I'm not working, I rarely watch TV. I'm usually doing other sort of weird stuff. I don't know, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
You know,
So, yep, go ahead.
I think that the reason why it's better, or at least to me, is because there's not as much restrictions. Like in the West, we're restricted. Before with Christianity, it's kind of like you can't have this, it'll accept the Christians. You can't have that. You can't, because anime, there are good demons, there are evil angels. You cannot have that in America. It would piss off too many people. And now we're restricted with feminism. With feminism's like you can't have this, you can't have that, you can't have this, you can't have that. But with Japan, there's not that limit. There's that restriction doesn't exist. And because the restriction doesn't exist, they have more freedom and more liberty with it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I know definitely back in the was it the 1970s and 80s, the censors would watch like everything that they were going to put on TV, and if it didn't seem to match up right with what the censors felt was good and moral and right TV, then it just didn't make it. And now they've been replaced by feminists, and people like that. And it's like, great. Just when we thought we were gonna, get some freedom here and let people be creative for once, no, no, here comes something else to throw a monkey wrench into the system.
Yeah, yeah. The censorship started off with Christianity. Now feminism is doing the censorship, and it's annoying because it's kind of like it stops creativity, it stops arts, and
Yep.
that's why I think that there are so many people who love anime and they watch anime illegally and they hop onto all of these illegal websites to watch anime that would get banned in the United States, but they found a loophole to it being banned. And they're like, "Why should I get it anyways?" Yeah, because it is entertaining and it's banned, you know.
Yeah. Once again, it just shows you how freeing the internet can be. And when you have the world at your fingertips, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I like how things that are banned in the United States, you can still watch it anyway. You would just have to do it illegally, but you can still watch things that are banned from airing in the United States. It's like sweet. Are you still there?
Oh yeah, I'm still here. Sorry, was running interference, but no, I was listening to you. But yeah,
The 70-year-old star made a number of remarks about feminism during a chat with makers, with the veteran actress also opening up about her thoughts on the film industry. Well, when it comes to Hollywood, I would say that, or at least when growing up, I have heard arguments that did make a bit of sense. Like, there's like a bunch of women in Hollywood are a size two. When you see more with male actors, you see more diversity. Like John Goodman, he's a fat, so you got some. You just see more diversity with male actors, even male actors that aren't all that attractive. Like I've seen so many male actors that really aren't all that attractive. Like out of a scale of 1 to 10, they look like a four. Like they're just. I've seen a bunch of threes and fours when it comes to male actors, but when it comes to female actors, I mainly see tens all around. And it's kind of like there's not really diversity.
yeah, you're actually you're onto something. I mean, yeah, I mean, especially with the with men characters and men actors and stuff like that, because you're always going to in most stories, you always have an evil villain or something like that, and usually when it comes to guys being the evil villain, a lot of times they have to be not very attractive looking. Um, you can't put the pretty face on the monster. Where with women, though, I mean, you can have like women who are evil, uh, and they're just absolutely stunning. And I'm like, okay, it's interesting. I don't know what the answer is. Um, if I mean, I'm pretty sure that if a role would call for a woman who uh, is not a 10 or not a 5 or even a 3, I would hope that there are actresses or there are people out there who would have a chance to play that part. But I know with like makeup and prosthetics and things like that, you can take beautiful people and turn them into ugly. I think what was it the movie Monster with what was her Charlize Theron? Yes, she played the part of Eileen Wuornos, who was a serial killer. And when I saw this movie, I could not believe that it was Charlize Theron, because Charlize Theron's a very beautiful woman, but man, did she look rough in and Monster. And at first I was thinking, do they have like a body double, or someone else who's playing the part or whatever? I didn't understand it until somebody's like, no man, that's she, they, with a little, some makeup and things like that, and some, can't, work, on that, they turned her into Eileen Wuornos. And I know I'm totally off topic, but that works.
When
Um,
it comes to female actors, sometimes I noticed that even with appearances, the movie and the book can be different. Where I think when it comes to that movie, maybe you know the name of it? It's the one with a girl with telekinesis. I think it's called Carrie. Isn't it Carrie?
oh yeah. Carrie, Stephen King.
Yeah,
Yeah.
isn't she supposed to be like really ugly in the book, but in the latest version of the movie, they made her like really, really hot and stunning. Even though in the book, I think she's supposed to be ugly.
Right. Or she's supposed to be like really plain, and just a plain Jane sort of lady, or girl. And yeah, I know I remember seeing the latest one. It's like, wow, Carrie was like hot. It's like, how does that work? Because the dynamic in high schools now, or maybe even when I was in high school, hey, the hot girls, they didn't get treated like crap like that. It was the outcast girls, the nerd girls, they got treated like, sort of things like that. But yeah, because I think it was in the original. I think I'm trying to remember the name of the actress who played Sissy Spacek was the original Carrie, and Sissy Spacek could play. She could play plain pretty well. She did a really good job with that, and made you kind of believe. It's like, here's a girl whose looks are so. Her mom is a complete religious nutcase. That kind of goes against her. But again, with modern movies, and that's another thing we were talking about. It's like they're just rehashing old movies, and they're putting new actresses and actors in them, and they just don't seem to fit in.
Yeah, exactly. So I could, if I haven't read this article, but if that's what she's talking about, then I could see where she's coming from, because it's kind of like in movies, kind of like the new Carrie. She's really, really hot, and hot girls don't get bullied in school. I mean, when I was in school, none of the hot girls got bullied. I mean, in fact, the hot girls sort of ones who were doing the bullying.
Right. Yeah, that's the way it was with my school too. So it wasn't that far off the mark.
Yeah. Hot girls don't get bullied, so it doesn't make any sense that with the new Carrie film, or even some of the Disney TV series, like some of the like what's it, Lizzie McGuire, where you have this really hot and beautiful, stunning girl getting bullied. It's like, seriously, girls who look like Hillary Duff don't get bullied. I mean, girls who are overweight get bullied. Girls who are freckled face or pizza face, or who have terrible fashion get bullied. Not girls who look like Hillary Duff.
Well, yeah, and I can't speak for how bullying goes with females. I'm not one, so I'm not really too sure. But when I don't know how girl world works, and I know in my wife tried to explain girl world to me, that you have like cliques and groups of girls who hang together, and you may have one queen bee, and the queen bee rules over all of the other girls, and the ones that are being ruled over could be bullied, but they don't want to leave the sphere of influence of the queen bee, so they put up with that. And I was like, wow, I never really thought about it like that. But you know, my wife was not a queen bee. She wasn't even a part of the clique. She was one of the weird math nerd girls, you know, off to the side who never got a second glance until she ran into me. But um, but yeah, I mean, maybe, I mean, we might be wrong about the bullying for hot girls just because they're not the queen bee. They
Well,
may, yeah,
Well, when I was in school, during my school days, people went out of their way to be nice to the hot, sexy, pretty girls. And even other girls, even other girls knew that they were popular. And so, because the girls knew that they were popular, even girls went out of their way to be nice to the really hot, sexy, attractive girls. That's because they
yeah,
knew that they were really popular and they don't want to get on the bad side of a popular girl.
yeah. No, I could see that being true. Yeah. All right.
Speaking about the way Hollywood is changing to reflect times, she explained, I always used to say, put your energy into changing roles for women in life because as nights follows day, as women's roles change in real life, roles would change for women on screen. Well, I could agree with that. You're banging your head against a brick wall, and then a little bit of cement falls away.
Okay. Or you're banging your head against the wall and a little bit of your skull falls away. I guess it could work that way too. Yikes.
She added, and I feel the wall is about to fall. It hasn't quite fallen, but yes, I think there are very exciting times for women. The eye in the sky stand out also said every woman should not consider themselves serious. Oh, no, thank you. No, thank you. You can save that for yourself because I would like to see it destroyed. I want it gone because I'm not a man hater and feminist hates men.
Yeah, it seems that the modern feminist is definitely anti men. Um, and and it's just so strange because most men, and I'm speaking for men. I am officially a card carrying man. So I know I, as a man, I like women who can do things for themselves. They don't need to. They don't have to ask permission from men. They can be liberated. They can do what they want. Now, does that mean that they can step over all over my rights? Oh, hell no. That isn't going to work for me. That doesn't work. I'm not going to step on their rights. I want them to be free. I would want them to do the same thing for me. But the new feminists, the third wave feminists that we're dealing with now, they don't see that. And men are just something to walk over now. And we, once again, you know, they're probably looking at the past and going, well, you all didn't let us vote for a really long time and we couldn't own property and we couldn't do this and we couldn't do that. Once again, we're getting back to the past. We need to look past all that stuff that we went through and look toward the future. How are we going to make freedom and liberty better, not just for men and not just for women, but for all people?
I totally agree with you. Any any women that doesn't sound right. Any women shouldn't it be any woman? I mean, do all these people have like really terrible grammar and flunked out of school or something?
So any woman now is actually a feminist. Well, that's
Any woman
common.
now
Yeah.
is a feminist, and
Yeah,
it's like
it doesn't sound right. It seems weird, but okay, I'm gonna let him just slide with it. I mean, they already printed it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be any woman, not any women. I mean, what's with feminists and having really terrible grammar? Like this is just outright terrible, and it doesn't even sound right. There is no flow. It's not.
Right.
That's even like internet speak, like WTF or OMG, but this is just outright just. It doesn't even flow or sound right at all.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, well, if you take the word woman, woman is one singular individual. And it said, if we were talking about any, would that mean I'm looking at it and said they're talking about more than just one? So women would be correct. But yeah, I don't know. It just, you're right. It doesn't flow.
Grammatically speaking, it's supposed to be any woman. It's not supposed to be any women.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at it going, it just sounded weird, but okay, that's fine.
He added, they don't realize it. They don't realize it's because they're living in a world that feminism, to some extent, has created, which is very exciting. So she's going on what feminism has done in the past. She's one of those.
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, like I said, in the past, it was important. But in Western civilization, in the Western world, feminism really, I think it's pretty much ran its course. I mean, you can do anything that I can do, and I can do anything that you can do. So I guess feminism, it worked, it ran, but there are so many other places on planet Earth that that could definitely use some feminism.
Okay, and she says the actress who boasts a diverse mix of roles on the big screen has opened up about her outlook on feminism and the movie industry countless times in the past and told US Metro in March that more women needed to speak up. Yes, we are. We are speaking up and we're speaking out against feminism and how much we hate it.
Yeah, I don't think that's what she meant, but hey, I'm all for that. Yeah, you go ahead and speak up. Keep it up.
The talented thespian urged, I've always been a feminist, but when I was younger, I was never a proselytizing feminist. Well, you are now.
Proselytizing as in like it's a religion. Yeah.
Well, feminism basically is a religion at this point.
Yep.
I totally believe in my right to do and be whatever I wanted to be, and anything that was holding me back was profoundly unfair. But to never join a feminist group. But you know what? Uh, but you know what? What's with this terrible grammar? You know what? What's it's like? They have
Wait,
really.
but you know what? What? That's awesome.
It's like their grammar is so terrible. It's kind of like, do they all do weed or something, or I don't know what drugs they are on because their grammar is terrible, like outright terrible. Like this isn't even like an eighth grade level. Their grammar is kind of like it's like I don't know. It's like fourth grade level grammar or third grade. Anyway, you you do you do need to speak up. You do need to articulate the issues, and you get shits for it. You get mocked for it. You get dumped upon for it. You, but you're on the right side of history. I hate it when people say that. You're on the right
Yeah.
side of history. I hate that phrase.
Yeah,
When you
like
speak up and things do change, dialogue is really important, she continued. But it seems to
okay,
you
but dialogue is needed. Is it really important? Yeah, dialogue is really important. She continued, but with the dialogue that she's looking for, She doesn't want men involved in the dialogue. She just wants feminists to be involved in the dialogue.
Really, men are not included? I didn't see that's in the article.
Well, no, it's not. But when you read into this and it's feminism, think about it. Do feminism really want men's opinions?
Usually not, but there are good feminists out there like Christina Hoff Sommers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I definitely agree with that. But she is not your third wave feminist either. She actually uses logic and reason, thank God.
Let's see. Well, we have been going on for about 2 articles. I mean, 2 hours. So I guess I'll make this one last article be the last one due to it being 2 hours. I still have articles left, but I guess I'll save these articles for next time.
That'll be fine. I'm all for it. Even if you have to cut short. If you didn't want to do this next one, it's fine with me too. It was just really good getting a chance to get on and have a little fun.
Well, it doesn't seem to be all that long, so I will do it, but I will make this article the last one since we've been going on for 2 hours, and I'm pretty sure that you're probably tired of by now. Um,
Yeah, thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and see what we got.
Yeah, but I mean, I do still have articles left. So, I mean, it's great for we could do this again. Like, hopefully, we could get more people. Like, maybe Red Robot will be willing to come on. Maybe Frozen Binary. Maybe your boy Pat.
Yep.
You
Oh,
know.
that would be good. I would love to see those guys on. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it would be nice, if we could have more people on. So I'm glad that I do have some left over so that this can happen again because I actually love doing hangouts because the best part about doing hangouts is no editing. I don't have to edit anything.
It makes work a lot easier when you don't have to go back and check everything.
Yeah, it makes everything easier when you don't have to go back and edit everything. And let me just go and share my screen. hmm Though, did something, a new person pop in? Oh no, that's just me, the hangout. Uh, in the chats, I just chats here and there to see if there were any new messages. Um, do you see this?
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I see it.
Actual politician. The real movements in America should be male lives matter. Make it stop. By Alana. I don't know how to pronounce her first and last name.
Yeah, it looks like Alana, and her last name looks really interesting. But is it Vaginos? I'm sorry, I probably butchered that, but it looked like Vaginos.
These women are usually feminists, so I wouldn't be surprised if it is vaginas because feminists are obsessed with their vagina.
That would be weird. Oh, it's Mike Huckabee. Okay, I should have known.
Mike Huckabee believes that all lives matter, and now the former governor of Arkansas has taken the misguided response to the Black Lives Matter movements even further astray, declaring that male lives matter. Well, the Black Lives Matter movement is a terrible movement, and there are many Black people who are against it, actually.
Mm-hmm.
In a July night interview with Fox News, Huckabee, a 2016 presidential hopeful with a history of racist and misogynistic remarks, look, I can't take them seriously anymore. Like, nowadays, when they say racism and misogyny, it's like, can I I see it for myself. Can I read it for myself? Because I don't trust these people anymore, to be honest.
Well, I mean, it is the Huffington Post, so you have to kind of take everything with a grain of salt.
Said, oh, trust me. I mean, you wouldn't believe what I've seen before. It's kind of like they were talking about, this was Vox actually, but Vox is also feminist, I think. And they were talking about like, oh, like it is so racist that there's a Chinese commercial where they she put a black man in a washing machine and he turns out Chinese. But here's what gets interesting. They have nothing to say with Italians having a white guy in the washing machine and coming out a hot and sexy black man. You know, it's not even Steven. It's not if a white man comes out a sexy black man. It's like it's not even. They only have something to say one way around, but not the other.
Yeah, it's a double standard. It's and they're just looking to be offended. Someone's out there going, "Oh, look at that racism." When then if you turn the tables, they have nothing to say.
Yeah, when the tables are turned, they have nothing to say.
Yep.
That more white people have been shot by police officers this past year than minorities. Huckabee was referring to the conversation around recent deaths of two black men, Alton Sterling and Philando Castile,
Steel. Yep.
who were both killed by cops last week. The two men were killed within 48 hours of each other, and their deaths prompted Black Lives Matter protests around the country. During what began as a peaceful protest in Dallas, Texas, in July night, five police officers were killed when a sniper shooter attacked. In an interview on Fox News on Sunday, Huckabee referred to data collected by the Washington Post that showed out of the 990 people shot by police in 2015, 948 were men. Of those men, 494 were white and 258 were black. If we have a shooting, we end up assuming that it had been racial. Could be limited. Leaders have leaders have a responsibility to keep things in perspective, which I have no problem with Huckabee saying that. It doesn't sound racist or bigoted at all.
Right. And if you look at, he said he's saying the real movement in America should be male lives matter. And when he's talking about males, he's not talking about just white males. He's talking about all males, black males, white males, Hispanic males. He's talking about all men. And yeah, again, I don't have a problem with what he's saying. Um, he has the right to say whatever he wants for the most part. I don't really care. But and I know a lot of people get all kind of all bunched up about the all lives matter thing, and I really truly believe that if we want to be an equal society where everybody is treated the same and we all are striving for freedom and equality, that it should always be all lives matter. Your life matters just as much as my life matters, and we shouldn't be trying to make one more important than the other. And I, and I'm hoping that there's some Black Lives Matter person out there who is, see, look, that guy, he's a part of the problem. And I invite those type of people, hey, come and chat with me, and yeah, you try to convince me what you're telling me is true. Um, but there you have it.
On Monday, the Washington Post responded to Huckabee's reading of the data as the Washington Post Michelle Yee Lee notes. Huckabee ignores the fact that there are more white men than black men in America.
Mm-hmm.
Yee Lee writes, so the raw numbers Huckabee claim is accurate, but as we often warn readers, criminal criminal justice trends generally are calculated by rates rather than raw
Raw
numbers.
numbers.
Well, black on black crime is the highest. I mean, when you look at the raw numbers, black on black crime is like extremely high. So there's a bigger problem with black people killing black people than white
Mm-hmm.
people killing black people. You know.
Well, I would like to see the number. I mean, they right here they have the number of black men murdered or killed were 258. I would like to see what the number is black men murdered by other black men. I would like to know what that number is, so we could see what the raw data looks like. And I'm sure it's going to be a lot higher than 258,
I can
which
show you that later.
is really sad.
I'll, I'll show you that later.
I would like to see that number be zero. I don't like to see anybody getting killed. I want everybody to be like, okay.
I can show you it later. It's in the
Okay.
FBI.
Maybe we could talk about that later.
Yeah, yeah. I'll shoot it. I just want to get through the article because it's
Sure.
really short. But
Yeah.
I would go and hop on the FBI website because I've been there a million times.
Yeah.
A per capita calculation of crime gives a more accurate representation of the risk of certain crimes to a community rather than raw numbers. In this case, looking at crime simply as the raw number of white people affected versus the number of minorities affected is misleading. By definition, there are fewer minorities. Yeah, but black people have a huge problem with killing other black people. Yeah, black people are the biggest threat to other black people.
Mm-hmm.
Sargon actually made a video on that. Sargon made a really great video on it. If people haven't checked it out yet, you should check it out.
Oh, that's the last one. He was the latest one he had
Yeah,
about black crime.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the newest one he has about black crime, and it's about how often and how frequently black people kill other black people, and how black people are the biggest threat to other black people.
Right. Okay.
When when Healy reached to Huckabee for comments, the former governor somehow said another extremely offensive statement. Instead of focusing on race, Huckabee changed gears to add some sexism to his racism.
Oh
But he
gosh.
didn't say anything racist, though. Facts aren't racist. Through his spokesperson, Huckabee told the Washington Post, it's not me that needs to be fact checked. It's the Post. I only said exactly what you reported. So how's that racist or sexist? My comments were 100% factual. The
Oh,
facts also reveal that 94% of those killed by police are men. So by your pro
proportional. Yeah,
proportional
proportional.
proportional standards, the real movement in America should be male lives matter. All we have to say is shut the fuck up and like shut the fuck up with it all caps and an exclamation mark.
Now that right there is the hallmark of good journalism. I'm kidding. That is not. That's terrible.
Yeah,
Jeez.
it's like they gets off being bitchy, catty women, like women who are still stuck in their teenage years. Like, shut the fuck up! Exclamation mark, all caps. It's like,
Uh,
uh, um, okay, let me go get you the FBI. table. Let's see, FBI table 6. That's how often I've been there. I've been there so many times. I know it's table 6. Let's see, but it's 2013. I can't find a more recent one because it takes a while for the FBI to do these updates.
Okay.
When it comes to black on black crime, African American, 2,245.
Wow. Okay. But this doesn't break it down into murders, does it? This is just crime.
No,
It
no,
could it could be any crime.
no, this is
Oh, it's a homicide table. Oh.
the homicide data.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay, I thought it was just crime.
No, no, no. This is the homicide data.
Wow.
So when it comes to homicide, 2,245 black people, because this is the offender, so
Mhm.
killed other black people. There is no
Wow.
victim, and this is homicide. So this is people who've killed other people.
Wow. That's a lot of people. Okay. And that was 2013. Okay. Wow, that's pretty sad. And so they said that white people, let's see, race of victim, black. Oh yeah, see, whites kill a lot of whites. we're
Yeah,
killing we're killing each other a lot too.
yeah, but
uh,
when you think about like white people making up 62% of Americans,
mhm,
and blacks making up only 13% of
mhm,
Americans. It's like
yeah,
blacks make up 13% of Americans, but we're keeping up with white people.
yeah, that is pretty bad.
So it's really bad considering our population size.
Mhm.
And when it comes to white people who killed black people, it's
And 89.
189. And when it comes to black people who've killed white people, it is 409.
Wow. Uh, okay.
So black people kill more white people than vice versa.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's pretty bad. Okay. Well, hey, thanks for getting showing me this information. I didn't know where to look for it. I figured, hey, Ren might know, and you did.
Yeah, yeah. My friend showed it to me, and my friend is black. So it's like my friend is black. He showed it to me, and me, I'm black, and I'm showing it to everybody else.
Hey, it's good to share information.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and I think we'll end it here. We've covered enough articles. I mean, I still have more, but we could get back to it like next week or the week after next. It's kind of like it's good to have topics ready because I was about to, make an old fashioned video where you have to do all that editing, and now I am so glad that I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Hey, thanks for inviting me on, and I had a really good time.
And I am glad you came on. Bye, everyone.
Bye.